Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Milka. I go by Milka the Movement, and I'm so happy that you guys are here joining me to get into all this drama that's been happening in my life. Now, before we get into that, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already doing so. Follow me on TikTok. My handle is Milka the Movement. You'll be entertained, you'll be educated, you'll just have a good time. For those that's already subscribed and are already following me on TikTok, thank you so much for your support. I love you all. And really, just welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing well. I hope your family's doing well. And I hope everything in your life as you're watching this is going good. You know, life is hard and we're all just trying to do our best, and we're just looking for positivity. So I hope to bring some of that to you despite my crazy life. And I just hope we can have a good time together. What else do I have? I feel like I have like church announcements or something, but I don't really have like a super long intro. I'll probably add some music or something as I get better with this whole YouTube stuff, but that's all that I have as an introduction. I feel like other YouTubers be having like 5-minute long introductions. I don't have one. So let's get right into the story. So as you can tell by the title, my car got repossessed. On February 22nd, my vehicle got repossessed. And y'all, when I tell you this, I was shocked. I was appalled. I could not believe that my car was gone. Once it was confirmed that it was an actual repossession, I really was taken aback because I just really never thought that I would be the kind of person to get my car repossessed. No shade to the people that have gotten their car repossessed. It's just that when stuff like this happen, like repossession, foreclosure, unless there's like some extenuating circumstances that cause that to happen, like medical bills or unforeseen death, whatever, when those things happen to people, let's be honest, everyone sticks their noses at them like, oh my gosh, how can you allow that to happen, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to say I was one of those people because I can say I don't really know anyone personally that got their car repossessed. But when I would hear it, I definitely was one of those. Well, I don't know if I was one of those people, but I really kind of like, you know, would side eye somebody like, dang, what you do to get your car repossessed? You know what I'm saying? So for the fact for it to happen to me, I was just shocked. I'm still shocked. I'm still appalled because I just never thought that something like that would happen to someone like me. And y'all, it happened. It happened. So let's get right into the story. First and foremost, my car got repossessed February 22nd, 2022. The night before, my friend was having like a launch party event type thing, and I went and I got home, I would say around like 8:30, closer to 9, and I parked my car in my usual parking spot. Now I live in a condo downtown, and in my condo space there's a gate, there's security, there's a gate, and then there's a parking garage. So I parked my car, went to my house, suspecting nothing. Oh, I will say that night when I got home, and then 3 nights before that, I seen police officers outside the gate talking to someone. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? Are they breaking in? You know, like, are there robberies? Like, what's going on? Now, the condo association, I'm assuming, would have said if there was like safety concerns. So they never sent any emails or anything. So I was like, maybe it's not. But I always in the back of my mind kept that maybe they were, you know, breaking into cars or stealing cars, whatever. So the next morning I wake up bright and early. I was so excited. I was going to come to my office early. I was going to get started a little early on my work, you know, just so I could get on top of things. And I go to my parking spot and my car is gone. Gone, gone. So I'm like, did I leave my car at my office? Like, how did I get home? Like, I wasn't drunk, but I'm like, dang, was I drunk? Like, I don't know why I thought that, because I wasn't, like, and I was thinking, like, did I do something last night? Was I drugged? Like, I was going through all these things because I'm like, my car should be here and it's not here. So then I'm like, man, maybe that's what the police was here for. Maybe my car was stolen. So I call 911, ready to report my stolen vehicle, ready to report a crime. And they asked me, so she started asking me questions and she, asking the make and the model. And then she goes, actually, there was a car with that same make and that same model that was repossessed this morning. And I was like, well, it's obviously not my car. Because it ain't no way my car got repossessed. And she was like, nope. We verified with the VIN number, and it was in fact my car. My 2019 Toyota RAV4 got repossessed. Y'all. I was in disbelief and I was in shock. Now, to some backstory. The last payment that I made for the car was probably either in October, right? So you pay and then the month and then you pay the next month. Okay, so I didn't pay November or December, but I made a payment in January. So although I made a payment in January, I was still behind. Although I made a payment in January, I was still behind, but it was February. So I thought, when I get my next paycheck, I'll just make another payment and, I'll keep paying a little extra until I'm fully caught up. But y'all, that was not enough. That was not enough. Then people wanted their money. Then people wanted their car. They just, they wanted their money or their car, and they took my car. So I came to my office. I decided to call my financer immediately to figure out what was going on with my car. Like, why was it repossessed? So I called the first person and they were just like, yeah, they confirmed it. Like, yes, your car was repossessed. We took it this morning because you were late on your payments. And I was like, how was I late on my payments when I just made a payment in January and it's February? And they're like, yeah, but your account has been XYZ amount of days without a payment. I'm like, it's February and I made a payment in January. So how am I late? So then they're like, you owe $2,000 for your car. And I was surprised because I'm like, y'all towed my car for $2,000? What? That was so weird to me. And then she explained to me, like, they have the discretion, like, to tow your car, even to repossess your car, even if you miss one payment. And I was just like, what type of rule is that? So I'm stressed out, but I find myself getting more frustrated as I'm on the phone with them because I'm just like, what rules are these? Like, who signed up to this stuff? Like, I did not know that you could just tow my car whenever you feel like it if I miss a payment. Like, that's ridiculous. So we're talking, and then they were like, so I was like, okay, fine. How do I get the car back? I'm thinking that they're just going to say I have to bring my account current, which was $2,000, including the next month's bill. Actually, it would have been like $2,600, including the next month's bill, plus I had to pay the repossession fee. So then the lady comes back on the phone. She was like, actually, they've determined that you have to pay the car off in full. I'm like, in full to get it back? So I asked her, okay, well, I've been making payments since 2019, so how much is it in full? This lady told me $25,000. $25,000 to get my car that they repossessed back in full. Y'all, I could not believe it. I felt like she tried my life. I just felt so bamboozled. And I was trying to keep my composure. I know I was being a little snappy and rude, but I was trying to keep my composure because I knew that it wasn't her who I was speaking with. It was her superiors. The people that are above her. She's just the agent that's relying the phone to me. So I was trying to be calm, but when she said that, I was just so frustrated. I think I started to get angry at that point because I'm like, why do I have to pay my car off in full to get it back? And most importantly, why is the payment still $25,000? Like, I've had this car from 2019 and I've been making payments since 2019 and it's 2022. That's a lot of money to owe on my car. And so I just got off the phone with her because I could find myself getting upset. And I knew that it wasn't her. Now, I bought my car. I let too many things slide when I bought my car. I was not, what is the appropriate word? I bought it in a rush and I didn't sit down and actually think things through. My car payment per month is $546 that I was paying every month up until that point, up until November of 2021. Now, I'm thinking that when I pay that money, majority of the money is going to go to reduce the payment of the car. So if you do the math, I already did it, so y'all don't have to do it. I've had my car since July of 2019, and I made my first payment in August or September. I can't remember, but we'll say September of $546 every single month. Plus, there would be some months I would pay extra. That means that up until when I stopped paying, that's roughly $13,000 that should have gone towards the vehicle, right? When I went to go buy the car, I price matched it. So I got the second highest model at base price because I price matched it to a different dealership. So the car itself was $25,000. The actual car, although it was listed for like, I think $29,000 or $30,000. We price matched it. So with that being said, I was just like, how is the car still $25,000? So I went into my account because I had a little online account where I would submit my monthly payments, where I would check my balance, whatever. But mostly I used it that's how I paid my car every month. I just paid it online. And so I finally pulled up my sheet, like my cost breakdown. And even though I was paying every month, only $328 was going towards the car. $328 was going towards the car. The rest was going to interest. Mind you, my literal payment every month was $546. Only $328 was going towards the car. I did not do that math, so y'all can figure it out. But almost over $200 was going towards interest. I found that out and I was, again, super angry. I couldn't believe that was happening to me. And okay, wait, so let me back up. So although the car was $25,000, my total loan amount was $33,000. Now I had to get the gap insurance. I had to get I should have got the actual form that I listed that I got. When I purchased the car, they give you like a one-sheeter and then they give you I don't know. I think that's from the finance. So they give you a one-sheeter, which is like the cost of everything, and then they give you the finance sheet. It's like a whole bunch of papers, whatever, that you have to sign and stuff. The one-sheeter was only at I think $27,000, whatever. It wasn't a whole. I'm sorry, I get nervous. I start to touch my face and touch my hair. Anyway, so the one-sheeter it had everything in line item, but the total amount came up to 27 something, close, let's say $28,000. But then the contract, that came up to $33,000. Now, looking back, I don't know what the hell additional I added or paid for. I know I had to have gap insurance. I know I didn't put any money down, which was my fault. I will never do again, but we'll talk about that later. I didn't put any money down, so that means I had to have gap insurance. And then I had to get a tag because I had to get a new tag because the time when I went to the dealership, I didn't have my old car. I had a rental car, so I had to get a tag. So I'm not sure how we went from $27,000 to $33,000. I don't know. And again, that's like another $6,000 difference. I do remember them having to do the contract again because I was asking, it was late. And I don't know if y'all know, but when you buy a car from the dealership, it takes like 5 hours. It takes such a long time. And at this point, I didn't leave there till like 11:30. Like it was very, 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 very late. So anyway, I remember asking them why the price was so high. And then I remember asking them if I could just pay certain things outright. Like the gap insurance, or not, there was something else. There was a whole bunch of like line items. And I was like, I don't want that to be added to the full loan. I just want the loan to be for the car. And then the other stuff, I feel like we could work something out. Now they were just like, well, blah, blah, blah. Like you don't have a deposit, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, okay, I understand that I don't have a deposit right now, but we could just not buy the car. I wish looking back, I would have stood on that. I would have stood on, I just want to get $26,000 or $27,000 for the car, and then everything else I'll just pay. But no, I didn't. It was late. I wanted to go home. I was already excited about this amazing new car. So I just let whatever slide. So because of that, we did the paperwork, and then we ended up having to do the paperwork again. Now, after I bought the car and I told my mom my monthly payments, she told my aunt, it was a big deal. My mom and I went back to the dealership because she didn't understand why it was so high. Me and the guy got into an argument. And then that's when they told me, no matter how much I put down on the car, or no matter how much I pay moving forward, my car payments will be the same. Because my mom didn't understand why my car payments were so high, so she was trying to figure out how we can reduce them. And so they were just like, no matter how much you put down, no matter how much you do, even if you were, to pay it, unless you paid it off completely, no matter what you do, this is the fixed price. The price doesn't change no matter how much you pay, unless you pay it off. So that bothered me because I didn't know that, or that wasn't explained to me in details when we were like actually drafting the paperwork. And the day that we went to the dealership, this was only like a couple of days after I bought the car. And my mom told me that like, if you buy a new car, you have a couple of days to just return it. And they were just like, no, you don't. That's not true, blah, blah, blah. So I kept the car. I liked it. I loved it. And, it was my little car. It was my little, my truck. Like I liked it. I felt like it was a good investment. But okay, I got a little sidetracked. So the reason why I told you all that was so I can give you guys an idea of what my car payments were like and why they were what they were. At the time, I didn't think my car payments were so high because I knew that was the price of the car. It wasn't until I was talking to my friend and he actually purchased a Benz and his car payment was cheaper than mine. Now, granted, my car was a 2019, a brand new 2019, and his, I think, was a 2018. But so, it wasn't that much difference in year, and he didn't get a base model Benz. He actually got something a little bit more sleeker. So his payments were about $30 cheaper than my payments, and that bothered me. So when I was doing all that math and I finally realized how much of the money that I've been paying was going to interest, and that for the most part, I just have not, I didn't own the car. I didn't own the car. When you do the math And I went back and I found that one sheet and I did all my line items. I realized what I've been paying for the past 2 years was not necessarily the car. I was paying for all those extra additives. I did not make a dent in the $25,000 car payment that I had. And I was just so angry. I felt like I was taken advantage of. Like, I was just so bamboozled because I didn't understand how on earth have I been paying for a car that cost $25,000, right? Let's say 27, and I paid $13,000 on the car, and none of the money that I paid went towards the actual car. I was very upset. I'm actually still upset because, essentially I signed to screw myself over. When I bought my car and I decided to finance through the dealership, not only did I screw myself over, essentially, now I knew that when you take out loans because of interest, you pay more than you would have paid if you bought it outright. I accepted that. What I didn't know was that how much more I would be paying, and that I wouldn't actually start paying towards the literal cost of the car until 3 years into me having a car, me paying on the car, if that makes any sense at all. Another thing that frustrated me about the whole situation was that when I was buying my car, I decided to get a Toyota because I thought that that was the more responsible route. When I was first looking into buying a car, I wanted to buy a Tesla. That had been my dream car since I was in college. And, I was a young professional. I felt like this was the time to get my Tesla. And so I had done the whole thing, start building your little Tesla online, whatever. And then for whatever reason, I told myself it would be irresponsible for me to buy a Tesla. Let me take the money that I was going to put into a Tesla and invest it into a Toyota. So, because, God forbid the car gets taken away or whatever. So I was like, the Toyota is the more responsible route. When I tell y'all, it would have been cheaper for me to buy a Tesla than that Toyota. And the whole time that I was like kind of processing everything and doing the math, that's what I was thinking about. If I would have just got what I wanted and been irresponsible, because it wasn't irresponsible, it was all around the same price, whether I got a Benz, a Tesla, whatever, it would have been cheaper than my actual Toyota. I don't know if I would have been in this situation. So anyways, I called my mom. She made some few calls. She was like, I can get the $25,000 for you. Go get your car back. I was like, okay, cool. So I called the dealership back. Mind you, this is all within that day. So I would say by 8:30, it was confirmed that my car was gone. By 10 o'clock a.m., me and my mom, I had already done all that math. Me and my mom had already talked about it. So now she was just like, go, find out the ways to go get the car. So I called them back. So this is all the same day before noon. I called them back and I was like, you know what? They told me it was $25,000. This is the amount that they gave me. How do I pay so I can get my car back? And I was like, can I just log into my portal to pay the money? And they were like, no. And I was like, why not? That's how I've paid this whole time. They're like, no, whatever, you can't. You have to send us a cashier check, and we'd recommend overnight delivering and adding a signature for someone to sign it. And I was like, why do I have to send a cashier's check? And this is a large amount of money. Why can't I just do it on the portal? And they're like, that's just their procedures for payoffs. I was like, fine, whatever. And then they told me, I didn't mention this, they're like, you have until March 7th to get everything, for everything to be processed and for everything to be clear. So I was like, okay, cool. Then I asked them, is there a way for me to get documentation with the final amount? Being it so I can't just log in and, click and pay. Like, I have to literally go to the bank and create a cashier's check. So can I have some documentation? They're like, well, you should be receiving a letter in the mail on Wednesday. Okay. Then I was like, this doesn't seem very helpful to the consumer who's trying to pay her car off. Like, this just seems a little bit, sketchy. Because why do I have to send a cashier's check? And then why do I have to wait 3 business days for that cashier's check to be processed? Like, why do I have to go through all these things just to get the car back that you took? Why? So y'all, from that time up until I would say Thursday, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We're going back and forth on bullcrap. I've noticed that the amount keeps changing and they're not sending me documentation. Every time I call for the final amount, the amount slowly goes up. It starts out, $9 here, $8 there. Then it's like 20, now it's up, now we're at $2,600. And I'm like, how do we get here? Like, why is the amount constantly going up? And most importantly, why are y'all not sending me any documentation with the final amount so I could attach it to the thing? Because let's be honest, we already know how this goes. If I'm $1 short, car's gone. Breath. Okay. So we already know that if I'm $1 short, my car is gone. So I'm asking for documentation. Finally, they're like, it takes 24 to 48. No. So I was like, can you guys email it to me? They're like, no. I was like, okay, can you fax it to me? Because I need something to show, when we're getting the money from the bank. And they're like, yeah, whatever. It takes 24 to 48 hours for you to receive a fax. And I'm like, do you mind transferring me to that department? Being it so that I literally only have 2 weeks to sort this out. And it's going to take y'all 3 business days to process this money. So is there a way to expedite it, or can I speak to someone to expedite it? Everyone that I spoke to for 24 to 48 hours for a fax, y'all, for a fax. Finally, that Thursday, after going back and forth, they said you're supposed to receive a letter in the mail with the final payment. Never did. They said that if they just kept on saying this and that. Nothing. Received nothing. When they finally sent me a letter in the mail, it was just, they sent there were 2 letters. One was from the repossession, the repossession agency that actually has the car on behalf of the financing company. And they just sent me a list of my belongings and tell me that, I need to sort it out with them to get my belongings back. The second email that I got was from the second piece of mail that I got was from the dealership letting me know that they have repossessed my car. No final balance, no documentation with the final amount, no nothing. So that Thursday, so I told my mom this and she didn't believe me. She was like, no, you're being dramatic. There's no way they're being that difficult or there's just no way. So I was like, okay, fine. So I put her on 3-way and she spoke to them directly. In addition to this guy's nasty attitude, the price for the car had gone up because they told me that interest was still occurring, which is weird because the car is not in my possession. And she was like, why is it so hard for us to get documentation about the final price? And I realized why is because interest was still occurring. So the price of the car is still changing. So after that final conversation, I made the decision to let the car go. I was like, I was exhausted. I felt defeated. I felt taken advantage of. And I just made the decision to let the car go. I was like, Mom, you know what? We could use the money for something else. At this point, we could really just use the money and get a brand new car cash and keep it pushing. But I just made the decision to let the car go because, first of all, we only had a week. This was Thursday, the last time we had the last conversation with the person. And we still had not received any documentation about the final documentation with the final amount listed. So I was like, even if we were to get everything together today, it would still take 3 to 5 business days to process. Even though I could have overnighted for it to get there the next day, it would be a Friday or like a Saturday. Like it just made no sense. So I just decided to let the car go. Do I regret that decision? No. I do not regret that decision because I just felt like I was being taken advantage of. I felt like I was being backed in a corner. I love my car, but at that point I didn't even want it because I just felt like it was clear that you guys took the car because you could. and y'all just wanted to keep it. And you guys were making the process as hard as possible to get back. Now, this was not my first car that I owned. This was actually my fourth car that I owned, but all my other cars we just bought straight out. No, I never had car payments prior to this. And when I tell you how accommodating those people were when you were buying the car, like how they were just so accommodating. They were so, helpful, whether you needed, to buy the car cash, whether you want to get a cashier check, like they were just so accommodating. And with this, they were not accommodating at all. And you would assume for people that are trying to get, if their intent was for you to actually get the car back, they would have been accommodating. They would have been as accommodating as they are when you buy a car. They will literally offer you the shirt off their back when you're buying a car. But when you're trying to get your car back, girl, you're out in the fields and the street by yourself. So that was my decision. Now, I don't know if it was the best decision because obviously my credit is shot. My credit is ruined. I can't finance a car again. Like if I want to get another car, I have to buy it straight out. I don't know what I'll be able to do. Like I won't be able to do much because you need credit to do a lot of things in America. But I don't know. They just weren't helpful. They just weren't helpful. Until this day, I still haven't gotten a document with the final amount for the car. Till this day. That sound on TikTok, till this day. I still have not gotten any documentation with the final amount for the car. I still have not gotten any letter. The letter that they said would include all of that information, I still have not gotten that either with the final documentation to the car. So that just lets you know, well, at least that lets me know that I was right in assuming that they intentionally made the process of getting the car back difficult because they did not want to give me the car. So now I am carless. I do not have a car. I've been walking and using public transportation when